What's up everybody, Sunkissed here, and in today's video we're going to be breaking down the March 17th patch that was just added to Fallout 76. We'll go over the changes and updates that they made, as well as give our opinions on some of those changes. Spoiler alert, RIP the chainsaw. It had a good 2-week stretch, but it is trash now. I'd like to know down in the comments what you think of this patch today. Also, let me know if you're running into any new issues or if any of the issues that were stated as fixed you're still experiencing. Would like to see kind of what everyone's experiencing. Yeah, it's just that I can't get over how ridiculous that is. All right, let's test this on a Mirror Queen. I think that's going to be the real indicator for how much this thing got nerfed. Okay, so it's level 100. Oh my gosh, this thing is terrible compared to what it used to do. I mean, you'd think for a weapon that you have to get right up next to something, like that should probably be one of the strongest weapons in the game. All right, right off the bat, we're just going to go over the patch notes that were released today on 3/17. And right off the bat, the chainsaw has been nerfed. Unfortunately, they were saying it was doing more damage than intended, so we'll get into that in just a little bit. Spoiler alert, there is a rant incoming. Fixed an issue where damage was reflected back to the scorch piece, essentially would insta-kill it. I mean, that's a good fix. That was kind of ridiculous the way that was working. A number of Pip-Boy UI navigation glitches has kind of been fixed. A lot of it's on PC, so can't really validate if that has been fixed or caused any new issues. I did see a Smashy Snow video earlier today, so huge shout out to Smashy for posting that and calling it out. I'll link his channel in the description. Definitely go sub to him if you haven't already. But for my own testing, I also ran into the same issue he called out, which is essentially previously you could close your Pip-Boy and it would stay on, let's say, canned coffee in the food section, and you'd open it back up and it would still be on that canned coffee. Now you can't do that anymore. If you take any damage, it will reset to the top of your food list, which is very, very annoying for console players who can't hotkey anything. Again, the UI stuff, it's mostly PC, so can't really confirm if that's working or not. I have tested the emotes, loot bags, and survival tents. I only have a little bit of playtime since the update, but so far my stuff has stuck that I've re-equipped. So let me know down in the comments if you're still running into those issues. Also haven't ran into waiting for a response from server yet, which is good. Don't really do that Scorched Beast daily quest, so no idea there. And then I also haven't really ran into those other two bottom issues, so definitely let me know if you're still experiencing that. Yeah, so that's the patch notes. Now let's get into my thoughts on it. Right off the bat, I just want to say that this rant is something that's more of my personal opinions. It may include some changes I'd like to see, but don't get mad at the devs and don't be disrespectful to them. At the end of the day, they're just doing their job. So if you have constructive criticism or you'd like to see something changed in the game, definitely ask and, you know, provide that feedback, but reminder to please be respectful to them as well. Without further ado, though, we can get into the rant here. I'll just state my opinion pretty clear right off the bat. I'm not a huge fan of this chainsaw nerf. A lot of people have been enjoying auto melee recently. I mean, it's been terrible in the past. Like, it used to be at the top of the meta, then it went to the bottom, and that was kind of somewhere in the middle. Then what we thought was maybe a buff to it kind of came out, and people have been using it more recently, and I was really excited to change up the meta a little bit, since we've been on heavy gun VATS for so long. Pretty much ever since they made VATS viable for heavy guns, they've been at the top of the meta. So God forbid auto melee or some other build type comes in and dethrones it for at least a little bit. But yeah, not a huge fan of the chainsaw nerf. Also, do appreciate the fixes they have made for the Pip-Boy, but there is still more that need to be fixed. Like I mentioned, the bug that's still going on where when you open the Pip-Boy back when you're in combat, it will reset you to the top of whatever tab you're on, which is extremely annoying for console players who either need to spam coffee for AP, or maybe some people even like selecting their stim packs from the aid tab. People play different ways. We don't have hotkeys on console, so uh, we kind of rely on being able to go back into the Pip-Boy, and it's exactly the way we left it, and that's still not the case, unfortunately. Next up, like optically, I don't really kind of like how this looks. I mean, Bethesda just released a new season, which I am very grateful for the new content that it has brought. But if you really look at the reward track for the season pass, it is definitely on the light side compared to previous seasons, and players have noticed that. So I don't want to say Bethesda was on thin ice with players, but they've kind of had a not great last couple of weeks here in terms of winning over player favor. So nerfing something that people enjoyed when it didn't really need to, and there's other issues ongoing in the game, like the fact that Daily Ops hasn't been dropping rare plans for 3 months. That's especially affecting newer players who have no idea. Maybe they're not up to date on Discord and Reddit and YouTube, and they're following all these guides so they know what's broken and what's not broken in the game. They could just be doing daily ops every day, not knowing that it's broken and they're not getting the rewards they're supposed to. That hasn't been fixed, but we fixed the chainsaw as soon as it gets to the top of the meta for 2 weeks. Again, I like heavy gun, but it's been at the top of the meta for like multiple seasons now. I think we need some shake up here. So I know personally, and myself personally have used a decent amount of resources to kind of respec some of my builds around auto melee, thinking that it was making some sort of comeback. I mean, the auto axe, I believe, started the season bugged. I'm pretty sure it still is bugged. The chainsaw now has been nerfed, and they're both really just terrible. Considering how many sacrifices you have to give up to run auto melee, it should definitely be way stronger than it is right now. Not necessarily saying it needs to be reverted back to it was before this patch, because if it was broken, I understand that. But at the same time, why not at least like increase the base damage or increase the attack speed, or do something to at least buff it somewhere in between where it is now and where it was pre-patch, or just don't change it at all until the next major update and let us just have fun with it. Again, as I mentioned, I know you're not supposed to count on something staying the same forever in Fallout 76, but I did use a decent amount of resources to add 4-star through 1-star legendary effects to my armor. I built a whole feral ghoul character, not necessarily just for the chainsaw, but it was a good motivator as to that, me playing on that character recently. And I know a lot of other people that have also used their level up points or their legendary modules, script, box mods, and such to kind of make a build around the chainsaw. So that's kind of wasted now. A lot of in-game time spent kind of earning that stuff. For me, it's not as big of an issue. I mean, I play the game a lot. I make content on it. But I do feel really bad for the people that don't get to play this game as often, that use their in-game resources to make this sort of build happen. So apologies to anybody if they saw my last video and they kind of spent a lot of resources to make that build work. It still is a decent auto melee build. The problem is that auto melee in general has been nerfed, so the overall effectiveness just isn't as good anymore. I did issue a title change on the video, updated the thumbnail, and added a updated note, or pinned a comment, and also updated the description. So hopefully if anybody goes to that video, they'll see right away that it's no longer as strong as it was previously shown. But I do feel bad for anybody that has spent resources to kind of make the chainsaw work again. Didn't mention earlier, but I'm kind of just, it's top of mind since I was grinding so much to get this feral ghoul character kind of up to my standards, if you will. I was running expeditions a lot, trying to get stamps so that way I could upgrade my civil engineer armor. And the most effective one to run is Most Sensational Game. And the pathing on the escortee is so broken and so busted, and it's been like that for so long. Sometimes it'll just be running into a wall. It'll take like 5-10 minutes to get that objective done just because the pathing just does not work. And it's been like that since they released the Expedition years ago. Like, that's another one of those things where, like, the priorities just don't seem right. Right? They're nerfing things people are enjoying, but something that's been in the game for a long time. Stamps are a crucial portion of end game grind, and one of the ones I'd say probably most people do is still really busted. So at the very least, if we can, could we like remove escorty as a possible objective for most sensational game? Change it to maybe only be one blood pack that needs to get collected. I mean, I'd opt to just remove it because it barely works. Also, expeditions crash a lot, so maybe they can fix that too. Thank you for watching and making it to this point of the video. I really appreciate it. Sorry if today's video was a little bit more on the negative side. I just had to get that out there. Not a big fan of this chainsaw nerf. I was having a ton of fun with that because I just had been using heavy gunner VATS and commando for so long, and being able to kind of have some nostalgia and use auto melee again felt really good. So it was really short-lived, and hopefully they can either revert the change or maybe make some sort of balance to make them stronger again. But yeah, anyways, if you want to check out one of my previous videos, that'll be on screen now. Subscribe if you haven't already. I'll catch you in the next video.